Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, another episode of the Unlaced podcast. As I always say, if you're new here, please give us a like and subscribe. It's how we grow. We really appreciate it. And thank you for coming along as well. If you are coming back again, as I always say, I absolutely love you. You guys are the heartbeat of the podcast. We had a massive episode last week with Shepmates. I don't know what they're doing right, but I'm here talking for 1 hour and these guys do nothing for 30 seconds and they've gone viral. So like they've made me rethink my whole life, but two of the absolute funny guys, absolute legends of content creation, and they've got big plans as well. So go back and check that episode out because that's something that we love to see. These guys literally are the definition of anything is possible now. The person I've got on today, I tell you what, he's a bit like an Andrew McLeod type figure on his day, darting off half back, tearing up the MCG grass, the agility, only one child, you can't even train for it. Yeah, pretty much is what I'm saying. But he has the gift of turning on a 5-cent coin and I absolutely love him to death. And his name's Isaac Quaynor, bro. So welcome to the podcast.
No, thank you. I've got some big shoes to fill from the Shepmates last week. So yeah, pleasure to be here.
No doubt. Apparently you love your shoes too, by the way.
I do love my kicks. Jordan 4s.
Jordan 4s.
I see you wearing them as well.
Yeah, that's the first thing you said to me.
Yeah, come on now. I'm always all over it.
Oh, bro, well, how's life anyway, man? How's the off-season been? Or are you coming back into starting a preseason now, I guess, really?
Yeah, it's been good, man. I've loved it. I had a good trip away in Europe for about 4 weeks with a few of the boys.
Oh.
So that was good fun. Yeah, man, we just got to experience a whole bunch of culture, a whole bunch of different countries. And yeah, it was super dope. I
want to talk about that because have you done much traveling before? Because I feel like since you got drafted, you don't really get the opportunity to do so much.
We've only got we're pretty lucky, but we've got a pretty short window in regards to when we can travel. And we've obviously had COVID the last couple of years, so I've kind of missed the boat. And even before that, I wasn't a massive traveler. So I've been to Bali and I've been to Ghana where my dad's from. But other than that, no. So this is like my first proper experience.
So where did you go? Because you did Europe. You did like a proper Europe trip, I felt.
We did I feel like it's the Big Five.
The Big Five.
Actually, maybe other than Greece. We missed Greece, which was, okay. I'm going to keep that for a separate time because I need to do that properly. But yeah, we did Italy. We did London. We did Milan, Rome, Positano in Italy. Positano by far my favorite.
The Amalfi Coast is just
biggest vibe.
You start rethinking your life there. You're like, how's this exist? Like, what?
I was just in vacay mode. Wake up, sleep in, straight down to the beach. Frozen strawberry daiquiri in hand.
Oh, damn, that's a lot.
Salad. I was just vibing, man. It was that good. And then where to go from there? Went to Barcelona, and then we went to Paris, Amsterdam, and finished in London.
Fuck, dude.
It was dope.
Because you went with a few of your teammates, didn't you?
Yeah.
What did you, because I think like for me, when I travel, I'm like, traveling does something for the soul.
Oh,
like,
100%.
I don't know, whether you've got issues going on or you just want to you just learn stuff. You grow as a person. Did you find anything like that for you?
100%. Well, it was good to go with that group because we're a pretty tight group already, but you get that much tighter, obviously, when you're traveling with people and you're there 24 hours a day together. So we had no headbutting, no nothing. So I think that was the first thing I realized was that we got a really good group of mates, in that little group right there. And man, I love experiencing different cultures. Like my dad's from Ghana, so I'm already a little bit different. So I just loved going to different cultures, learning different languages. Yeah. I didn't pick up much of any language,
but what do you like? I love the Spanish language and Spanish women for that matter.
Yeah.
European
women for
chicas,
all
man.
matters.
Yeah, damn.
No, I want to say
European for all matters.
I mess with the French language. I thought that was dope.
I haven't been to France. That's fucked. Yeah.
All I learned was je m'appelle Isaac. That's all
That's all you needed, bro.
Some little French kid when we were at the Oval training, and he came up. He didn't speak any English, and that was all we could kind of say to each other was, "My name's this. My name's this." And
no way. So who did you go with?
Jack Inovan, Tyler Brown, Callum Brown, Nathan Murphy, John Noble, Will Kelly joined us at the end, and Trent Bianco.
All right, now I'm going to put you on the spot here, but I want a best on tour and worst on tour out of the lads. So don't have to throw them to the wolves, but we want to know because there's characters to travel with, and then there's brotherhood like back in your own town.
Well, I'm going to start with worst on. And I feel like he knows his worst.
Let's hope he's not watching.
John Noble.
John Noble.
Down, worst on. He was there for literally 11 days. He came to Europe for 11 days.
What?
I'm flaming him. I'm sorry, John. But you deserve a little bit of a flame. But I mean, at the end of the day, he tipped in while he was there. He had things to go back for, so
okay, fair
much
play.
respect.
So it wasn't necessarily his performance across the 11 days, or is there an element? Oh, there is.
Nah, he was good.
Or it was more just a short commitment.
Yeah, it was just a short commitment.
Okay.
He was good value while he was there. He's a funny man, and he provides some entertainment. But,
Best on?
Just because I feel like we spent a lot of time together, it's got to be Guinea, and I'm going to boost the man's ego. He already knows he's.
Oh, damn.
He reckons he's runs the joint already. But me and him had some good memes. It was good fun.
It's good, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did it because it does. It helps you when you come back for preseason, like just to be refreshed.
Dude.
When I come
back, I'm like Monday to Friday, I'm grinding. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm happy being back at the club. I don't feel overwhelmed by it. So I think it's going to be me each year. I need that little 4-week, 5-week
100%,
block.
bro.
Yeah.
Do you find it's funny because you're probably when you sit in Positano and you're just looking out, you're like, fuck, man, it was only a few weeks ago. There was intense final series. And like, I feel like your days are so clouded with thoughts of the games and like how big it is, and you got everyone on the street being like, fuck, big game this weekend. So to separate it, just to go back on that final series, like how did you deal with that? Because that would have been like your first sort of real run at it with the club.
Yeah, it was my first proper one. I've played in a few finals before that, but they were like the COVID years, so it was a little bit just a little bit weird. But yeah, man, this final series was freaking unbelievable.
Dude, it was crazy, man.
Well, this is probably a bit like for football wise. That was the most enjoyable year I've ever played.
Was it actually? Because everyone from the outside was like, we love watching Collingwood. Yeah. We love the vibe, but it actually felt like that as a player too.
I think it started internally and then kind of bled out. So we enjoyed it so much, and then everyone else enjoyed it. It was kind of like started from us, and then it kind of grew. And I know Geordie spoke about how important fly's been for us.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, he's been steering the ship, and he's a big reason as to why we perform so well. Yeah. But yeah, the final series was crazy, man. Like to play in front of 90,000 people. Like I was speaking about it with someone the other day. Like when we came out at the Sydney game, the prelim, you come out to your song. We were warming up, and then Sydney came out to their song, and the Collingwood chant, like it was over the Sydney.
At the SCG, right?
This
is what I said, bro.
I can't even. I looked at John Noble. I looked at him. I was like, bruv. This is crazy.
This is crazy.
Like, this is nuts.
You're having those chats on the field. Like, what the fuck?
We stopped what we were doing and we just kind of looked around and like, bro, you just got to soak this stuff.
Yeah, man. That's why I think Collingwood is like so unique, because there was pockets of like Collingwood fans and they were just hurling abuse.
Oh, man.
I said this on the Geordie podcast, and you can probably back this up, but I reckon they were a huge part of why you guys got in with an inch, because it was like the first half I was like, what? Everyone was like, what the fuck? Like, is it even possible for you guys to come back? And then it was like, that these guys can win, like literally.
Well, that's what we did all year. I mean, we always found a way to just crawl back. We never we're like that, cliche, never give up. But that was literally us. As soon as we had a little challenge in front of us, a few goal deficit, we were like, nah, fuck that, we're coming back. And
do you reckon it helps because like some of you guys are so young? You guys are like a bit of a fearless streak as well?
100%. And I think the older boys are aware of that. And we kind of both feed off each other. Like to have people like Pendles and, the Steels and the Howies and stuff like that. And then to pair it with like the Bows, the Guineas, even myself and a few of the like Nick, like so many of the younger boys, I feel like it just works really well. I don't know.
Yeah. I spoke to Dane Swan about it ages ago, and he's just like, man, it fucking ticks me off that everyone likes Collingwood now. He's like, I want everyone to go back to hating them. But like everyone actually does like you guys. It's fucking weird.
It's like we were like the underdogs all year. So I feel like you just got to vibe with it. And everyone loves an underdog, I feel like, in sports. So yeah, I feel like that was us this year. We just found a way to just keep getting dubs.
Yeah, bro. Well, we're going to go into your footy story a bit more, but we met actually, I think the first time we met was at the Copeland, yeah? Yeah. And I come over, I think it might have been Ben or you. Yeah. I came over to tell you why I needed to introduce myself, because it's getting ridiculous, bro. Like, I'm not saying people are coming up to me, but because every time like I'm out with Geordie or like one of the players, and like it's uncomfortable, like some of the people that come in and like throwing stuff like at him. And so I just try and break the ice. I'm like when they go like looking at me like, do you play footy? I'm like, yeah, I'm Isaac Quaynor.
Yeah, hey, I say,
bro, they absolutely, there hasn't been one that goes, really? There was one guy at one of my friend's son's christening all night, like he was a bit drunk, But he just was like telling me how good I was, how good you were, I should say, for like an hour, like on my shoulder. Like, bro, yeah. And I was like there, like, fuck, I've really overdone this now because like I'm like annoyed that this guy's still here.
Deep now.
Yeah, like I'm talking like half back, like my vision, my step, like how I'm working, like how I'm the loose man, how my running game. I'm like, fuck, I'm going beyond my knowledge here. I can't keep up. But there's actually a funny story, and I think you'll like this, but there's a photo of me in a cafe in St Kilda. They think I'm Leon Davis. And I'm like,
I see the Leon Davis. I feel like I see the Leon Davis more than I see myself.
Yeah, probably.
That's probably biased. But
the thing for me was that like Leon Davis played in like 2001.
I know.
2002. Like you were just born when he was playing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm in a cafe, bro. Me, Jordy, and this guy. Like, what's up?
What, are you on the wall? Like,
They took a Polaroid. They've got all famous people on the wall, and they put me there. And I was like, yeah, I'm like a Collingwood mentor. I don't know.
I say
shout out Leon Davis, bro. He's the best bloke ever, by the way.
He's a goat.
But man, it's pretty. You've had a pretty crazy year, I think, and I think like when people talk about your story, what's interesting for me is your background, like and where you grew up, and your sort of, I guess, connection to Africa through your dad. Your mum's Australian, right?
Yep.
And you've got how many brothers?
5 brothers, 1 sister.
Damn.
Yeah,
big African family's always big, bro.
Always.
Let me guess, your dad's got heaps of siblings for sure, probably.
Yeah, he's like one of 8.
Shit.
9.
That's crazy. So were you born, raised here?
Yeah,
or?
born and raised in Melbourne. So like I've always been here. All 6 of us Quaynors have all been born here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was lucky enough to go back when I was 10.
10.
I had my 11th birthday there. I was there for 6 weeks. The whole summer holidays I was there. Got to meet all my family. It was pretty dope.
Dude, do you remember it at all? Is it too long ago now?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I remember bits and pieces, but
yeah,
like it's very patchy. But I remember having like an unbelievable time.
Yeah, okay. Because one of my favorite trips I ever did was to Africa.
Where'd you go?
I went to Kenya with my best mate, similar to you. Dad was Kenyan, mum was Aussie, big family, and dad passed away, so we went to Kenya to like see all the family.
Right, yeah.
Bro, it was the best. Like honestly, it was supposed to go for sad reasons. It was the best trip we ever had.
Yeah,
like, it was just unbelievable.
Beautiful, man. I need to do like I've only been to Ghana. I'd love to do and a few other countries around there.
You watching the World Cup or not? Because the Ghana Black Stars, bro, they're making waves, bro. Ghana Black Stars,
3-2.
Yeah, 3-2, bro. They're up and about,
just watching the highlights just before.
They're a good team.
I'll be honest, I'm not that loyal to the point where I'm waking up.
Yeah, fuck
I need my beauty sleep, but like we've been watching the highlights every now and then, and they seem to be doing well.
Because you're jacked like naturally, and I'm like. Look, when me and you get jacked, and like it's usually because you're black genes and da. But it might be actually correct with your Ghanaian genes.
Oh yeah, he always says it as well. And a lot of people do. Like I'm genetically advanced a little bit in that regards. Like I'm naturally quite big and muscly, and I don't really need to do that much weight, which I'm very like thankful for. But yeah, that's all dad. Dad's pretty jacked.
Is he really?
I get it from him, yeah.
Shout out the boss, man.
Yeah,
well, because we do our research on the Unlaced podcast, and I got told a story about your pre-draft story, which I wanted to share because
feed me.
Nothing was ever gifted to the man Isaac Quaynor. That's what I'm trying to get at here. But so you finished school younger than like most. So you would have finished 17. So you hadn't been drafted yet. So you had like a gap year, you could say.
Yeah.
So I was told by the Oakley Chargers faithful that what time did training start usually? 4:30, 5?
Yeah, about 5 o'clock I think it was.
Yeah, and IQ was in the gym at 3 p.m. before every session.
Yeah.
Till training.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I actually, when I look back, I don't know how I did that. Like,
that's true story?
Yeah, no, that was me and Dan were putting in the work early. I got to give him his respect as well. But,
damn.
Yeah, because we did uni together. So we do.
Okay.
We finished at 3 in Richmond. So we did uni in Richmond. So we'd just take the train straight from Richmond to Oakley. There's no point going home. So we'd just pack all our stuff and then, get in the gym early and get to work, which was dope.
Bro, because like I feel like some people don't see that stuff. So they just see you go pick 13, 2018, get given the number 35, which is like a big thing at Collingwood. And then you just start playing games. But it's like a lot of people don't get to see the blood, sweat and tears. So did you always know you were going to be sort of that high level draft pick coming into draft year? Because it fascinates me that most draftees or some don't actually know how high they're going to go coming into that year. Like that year is really critical.
Yeah, I was actually speaking about it with someone yesterday, like with Pat Lipinski when we were doing a run. I was chatting about how I played there's like an all-star game at the end of each year. And it was in my bottom age year. I got just like a lucky invite to this all-star game. And that was how I played all right and got selected in the academy. And that was when things started to become a bit more real.
Yeah.
Like at that point, I was kind of just this like bottom major, you know, who showed a bit of potential and like, who knows? And it has the ties with Collingwood, but not sure yet.
Yeah.
I think once I made that academy, I was like, damn, like this is the top 32 players in Australia. Like,
shit,
this is pretty real.
Yeah.
And then I think from that point onwards, I was like, nah, I'm going to make the most of this. And
So-
I think it only started to become real towards the end of the year.
Was there an age where you went all chips in on like, I want to get AFL, I want to be drafted, all that sort of stuff? Because I'm aware that you played like every sport growing up and you didn't have like a number one.
Nah.
Which is kind of the curse when you're athletic because you're like, I can do a bit of everything and be okay. But like footy for you obviously came to be the one.
Yeah, for sure. I was that try hard in PE class that would just be like trying to take on everyone in every sport.
Really?
It didn't matter what it was. Badminton, I'm taking over.
Apparently you were handy at soccer too.
Yeah, I was all right.
Athletics,
right
basketball.
Back. Yeah, right back. Yeah, did a bit of athletics, did basketball. I loved volleyball. I hate cricket. So stuff cricket.
Man, they're losing people because they used to stand in the field all day.
Yeah.
People are like,
Yeah, no, I've got beef with cricket just because we weren't allowed to wear boots in pre-season with football, so I'll just be getting mad at cricket. But, I won't start no beef with no one. But what was the question again? I've gone on a side tangent.
Oh yeah, we're talking about you're multi-skilled at sports. So when did you go all chips in on AFL?
It was probably around. So I was playing basketball up until like Friday night rep league up until I was 18. So so in my top age year. Is that right? Yeah, so my top age year, I only played like he knows more about my story than I do. I only played like maybe 5 or 6 games because football was my main commitment. So it was probably at that point when I went into my top age year of basketball and football where I was kind of like, well, I'm not 6'9" and putting get my head in the rim. Like I'm just 6 foot.
You need to shoot the lights out like
6 foot with shoes. 6 foot with shoes, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was about the age of 17. So I was actually pretty late, to be honest. I wasn't. I still love basketball.
Yeah. Is that your go-to sport?
It's probably my first love in regards to sports. Like, I find it so therapeutic. Like just going to get some shots up.
No way, because I was actually going to ask you this because for me, I always take a lot of inspiration from other athletes across other sports. Do you have the same thing? Like if you're in love with other sports, like is there any, because sometimes like I played soccer and I would like LeBron James or Michael Jordan. They were like my idols. Yeah. I'm like, how does that work?
Yeah, LeBron James is like my idol. I've been the biggest LeBron James bandwagoner since day one.
Have you? Yeah.
I'll be honest, I've gone off him a little bit lately. I'm trying to start my own wave, so I go for the Hornets now.
Oh, Charlotte.
Yeah, I'm messed with the Hornets. But
good team.
Yeah, up until the last couple of years, I've been, the way that he goes about it on and off like the court is just crazy. Like, and for me, he's the GOAT. I know it's very controversial, but I never got to really watch Jordan play. So like,
true.
From what I've seen, he's just like unbelievable, man.
What I wanted to talk about, because obviously we got your Ghanaian background. One thing for me, like particularly when you would have been coming through the AFL ranks or the sort of youth ranks, I should say, the rep teams, like there's what I've noticed now more with the AFL, it's more common that there's a multicultural aspect, like people from other backgrounds are actually elite in the AFL environments. Was there anyone for you that you kind of looked up to or still look up to as like sort of that person that you could be like, these guys kind of look like me, that's pretty cool, like they're doing well?
Heretia Lumumba was when I was...
You play a bit like him, don't you?
Yeah, well, so that's the thing. When I was a little kid, I grew up going to Collingwood, so like I'm living the dream. But which
I find fascinating as well.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm very lucky. But me and one of my other mates he'd take me to the games almost every week. And we'd like be running around through the there's obviously massive crowds when you're trying to walk through the MCG, and we'd have a footy and we'd be handballing and like kicking in and out of people, and people would always be like, "Oh, you're Harry O'Brien, you're Harry O'Brien."
Oh, man,
I used to love it. I was running. I'm like, baby, come on now, let's go. Because he was a GOAT back then. Oh man, he's still doing pretty well right now. But I think he was the one who I was like, this guy, like I actually we look very similar. Yeah, and like, somewhat similar stories. And I think that was the first person that I was kind of like, damn, well, like he's done it, so I can do it. And I know his road to get into the AFL was, it wasn't the traditional route. It was, he had to
left, right.
Yeah, he had to do all these different turns and finally made it. So he was one. And then obviously like Majak Dor was, he kind of paved the way for a lot of Africans and especially Sudanese people. Yeah. So yeah, big ups to.
There's a lot of Africans on lists now, dude.
Heaps, man. There's actually 4 half Ghanaian, half Australian.
What?
Yeah.
No
so
way.
Dope. Yeah.
You'd have like an Australian Black Stars team, the Ghana team. We're almost got a starting 11, bro.
I'm leaving to go to an AFL run. It's like a multicultural and Indigenous camp for the next 3 or 4 days. So there's going to be I don't know if this is like, hopefully this is, everyone knows, but there's like going to be like an exhibition game that's like multicultural versus Indigenous in Feb.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's going to be dope.
Dude.
That's the first time I think that's happened.
Dude, breaking news, man. This is what this podcast does, bro. People drop their guard, they say it, and they leave like, fuck, should I have said that?
Yeah. Like, damn, bro.
That's all right. If we need to, we can edit it out. Don't stress.
I'm pretty
But
sure.
dude, that's fucking crazy, man. So has that ever happened before?
I don't think so.
Raiden, you would know that. I don't think that has.
Yeah, I don't think so. So that's going to be dope. I'm curious to see how we're going to go because the Indigenous boys are freaks. Bro, so.
Yeah, dude.
But I mean, we'll hold our own, and we got that chemistry, we got that culture. So
yeah,
I'm really excited for that. That's going to be dope.
Yeah, well, let's go into, because I want to talk about when life changed. Because for me, I find it fascinating. I've heard you speak about it before that you're always a Collingwood fan. So the chances, I mean, it's like what, 1 in 20, 22 chance to go to the club that you barracked for. But can you take me through the moment when you got picked up, you got the blue tick, all the followers are coming in, you get the phone call from Eddie Maguire, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck is going on here, bro? Can you take me through that phone call with Eddie Maguire when you get drafted? Because we don't get to see or hear what that's like. Yeah,
well, draft night was a bit of a blur. Like, I feel like it is for everyone. And I was at Marvel Stadium, so I was there, and I kind of knew, I knew going into it that, you know, I was basically going to get picked by Collingwood. They essentially said that. And so I was...
Was there anyone else you could have gone to that was like...
Yeah, so Adelaide was interested, and they had pick 8, so that was going to be like a bit of a... Yeah, they would have thrown a bit of a spanner in the works, but they didn't end up picking me. And then GWS. So I would have gone to GWS.
Okay.
If it wasn't for Collingwood matching the bid. So like... Yeah, that was dope. I remember when I heard GWS and then they said like Collingwood has matched the bid. So I knew straight away. I was like, damn, this is it. And then,
holy shit.
Like, it was like, you know, when you watch like the NBA draft, and I was like, this is kind of like a Fugazi version of that. Like it's like
the poor man's version.
Yeah, like a home brand Aldi version. So like, yeah, it was dope, man. I forget who I was up on stage with. I don't know, but
was it Collingwood? Collingwood.
It was someone. I don't know.
You should remember that, though, shouldn't you?
It's a long time, bro. It's a blur, literally. And then you go into all your media stuff. And believe it or not, I actually, me and Riley Collier Dawkins, who was one of my teammates who was at Richmond, we actually applied. He had that plug in the AFLPA. So we actually applied for the blue tick before the draft. Like before the draft.
Shit, applying for blue ticks,
so we had a connection to the guy who was like, oh, well, obviously you're going to get picked up. Like, so just send me through like your driver's license and I'll do it all for you. Damn. So like, I kid you not, like the second I got drafted, I looked at my phone. I've got the blue tick already.
Oh, wow.
And like thousands of followers are coming in. Like obviously when you come to Collingwood, it's crazy.
Bro.
I went from like 3,000 to maybe like 10K just like straight away. And then I'm walking out, I've done all my media, and then Eddie calls me and I'm like, bruh. And then dad, like, Dad's not like that culture. Like he's from Ghana, bro. He's not like about that. But he's like, is that Eddie? Is that Eddie? And I'm like, Dad loves Eddie. I don't know why.
Did you know he was going to call you?
Well, no, I didn't know. But I was like, I've heard that that's what he does.
Yeah.
And Eddie loves it. So yeah, that was a really special call. And he was, just welcoming me to the club. And yeah, that was pretty surreal, to be honest.
Yeah, I can imagine, bro. Yeah. That's like, for me, that's like when you've made it. Like Eddie Maguire's on all that.
Yeah, I got Eddie's number.
Was there any like little dimes he left you in that call? Or was it just more like a welcome to the club?
No, it was more just like a welcome to the club. You know, like I've heard about you and we're really excited to see what you can do and this and that. So
that's cool, bro.
Yeah, it was dope.
I'm always fascinated to know because I can sort of relate to it a bit, but how big was the jump in standards from obviously Chargers and you're doing well there into like Collingwood year one? Yeah. Like for you, what was sort of the biggest thing that you noticed like, fuck, I got to improve on that?
I think for me, like this probably was, it was relevant probably up until my second year. Was that like, cause I was a Collingwood fan, I found it hard to transition from being a fan to like
player.
Like Pendles is now my teammate. Like he's my mate. Like it's
dude,
like,
I didn't even think of that. Still side bottom and shit. Like they won premierships.
That's what I'm saying. Like I grew up like watching these guys. Like Pendles. This is well documented. Pendles was my background when I went in the year before. He was like the photo of Pendles was my background, bro.
Dude,
so
what
like,
did Pendles say to that? He probably. He's the kind of guy that would just lay into you. I feel
he let me slide, but I'm sure it'll get brought up at some point. But I love the club before even getting drafted there. So that was like the hardest thing. Like the training stuff, I've always like I can adapt to that stuff. Like that's not really a problem for me. It was more, and like I was pretty strong already. I was pretty fit. Like I didn't really, and they ease you into it. So that wasn't the hardest part. It was definitely like just being like, fuck, like even fucking Geordie. Like I would be like,
bro,
Geordie. And then like, that dude barely spoke to me till like my third year.
Really?
Bro, I'm off him for that. I'm off him for that. But like even things like that, I think that was like, that was the hardest part. Is like, just like making an adjustment from fan to like, they're my boy.
Dude, that was not the answer I was expecting for you, because I never even thought of it from that perspective.
I feel like not many people, and not everyone experiences that because
exactly.
Well, firstly, not everyone's like a massive Collingwood like AFL fan, and then obviously not a fan of the team that they get drafted to. So it's kind of a bit.
So
unique.
what clicked for that to be like, this is just getting used to it, coming through the door every day?
Yeah, I think just like having conversations and like, when they let their guard down a little bit and you're having like deeper conversations and just like, hey, how you going and stuff like that. Yeah, and I think that especially that's what I really enjoyed the hub is that I got to like, were you living with your boys? So like I got a lot closer to everyone throughout that period, and now like. Yeah, there's some of my best mates play at the club. So
absolutely.
It's pretty dope.
I think your first year you played 3 or 4 games, then sort of year 2 onwards, it's like every game you're sort of in that starting 22 when healthy. And what did you attest your consistency and regularity in that 22 to?
Good question. Well, I think looking back on my first year, I was hell frustrated because I wasn't playing early on, and like you compare yourself to all the other boys who were drafted just around you, like around your pick. Like fuck, he's playing, like he's having 30 disposals. I'm freaking playing the VFL having 12. Like, bro, what am I doing wrong? And I think that was like a bit of a learning curve for me. That like I had to really just tip in and like believe that this was my process and this was how it was meant to be for me. And
it's
I think
a good perspective to have it.
Yeah, well, I think early on I was pissed off, and then I kind of was like, well, fuck it, I'm here now. I may as well just like make the most of it. And then obviously got my opportunity. I think it was like round 18 against Hawthorn, I think. And then basically since then, since I've been healthy, I haven't really looked back.
No shit.
I'm very fortunate.
Do you know what? I think a lot of people and fans out there don't realize that a lot of your pride's on the line when you're not getting picked. So like for some athletes, that's why I said that perspective is really impressive, because you can get emotional with that stuff. Not necessarily like crying and shit, but you like take it personal. You get real angry and stuff. And
I've seen plenty of boys get pretty angry. You can see, as soon as people like walk out of that selection room, there's a whole variety of emotions because people are happy, playing their first game, and then people are getting dropped, and then you know what I'm saying? So it's, that's just the highs and lows of footy.
What's the sort of role of the coach or captain in that? Is there a role where they're trying to sort of keep everyone sort of on that same level and frequency, or do they just kind of let people have their moment, free up, and then come back in tomorrow and just kind of reassure them that you keep working?
I think Fly always talks about selection integrity. So he's always like, if you're doing the things right that you should be doing, then you'll put your name in the ring. Like you'll be every chance to be picked if you're not playing already. Yeah. And I think that's a good way to look at it. And I think like as a coach, like man, it's tough. You got like 40 something players that you got to have conversations with. You can't get to everyone at every point. Yeah. Dude. So like I remember when I wasn't getting picked and like I wasn't really having, this is back in my first year, I wasn't really getting much feedback as to why, and I was getting a little bit frustrated, and like I was having conversations with my manager, and he was just like, just keep tipping in and eventually you'll be able to crack it. And I think eventually we did. But I think the best thing is like transparency. Like I think having the skill to be able to, or the courage to be able to go into the office of the coach and be like not on some like beef stuff, just like on some like
not on some gangster shit.
You're not coming up there like, bro, what are you doing? It's just more like what do I need to do to, put my name forward? Yeah. I think that I actually never did that. So like if I had my time again, I would do that, but hopefully I don't get dropped again. Yeah. I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, I think that's a really important skill.
How do you, and we kind of spoke about this before we jumped on, but I just want to go through it because playing for Collingwood's like as big as it gets almost in a sporting sense in the country in regards to the eyes on you, the expectations, the love, the hate. How do you kind of, and this is what I'm going to bring to you in a sec because I want to see what you say, but like how do you as like still be Isaac Quaynor off the field and enjoy your life and separate from the pressures or the performance. Because some weeks you might play 10 out of 10, some weeks you might play like 5 or 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
But like to try and keep your sort of balance as a human being in an environment where it's not normal.
Yeah.
Like is there anything you kind of fall back on or do to manage that?
I live with, I call him Chick, so you
Chick?
can call him down. Yeah, that's his nickname's Chick.
Yo,
so
what's up, Chick? It's a guy, just so everyone knows.
Yeah, it's a Chick. I live with Dan, and I think he's someone that, like, when I go home, it's like I kind of enjoy not being around the football. Yeah, so it's like I have that balance already when I go home. And before that, I was living with my mum and her partner and my 3 brothers. So I'd go home and it wouldn't be about football. It'd just be like chilling. But it was a pretty hectic household. So now I'm happy to just go back into my apartment and just chill with him. But I think, having good friends and family is like it's hell cliche, but like that's just what it's about for me. Like I got a really like good core group of mates outside of my football boys. And then I'm really close to my family as well. So like I think falling back on those two, it's helped me heaps with like that balance stuff for sure.
Yeah, because you got to have that separation as well.
Yeah, it can become too intense, and I think even like I live in Richmond, so it's like pretty. That's already a very football. It's a football hub, so it's like to get away from that sometimes it's good. So like when I go back home, I feel like that's good. I get away from the bubble.
Yeah. What do you think he does well to manage it? Because because you would see it firsthand living with him, like. Because I see it with Geordie, then I'm like, fuck, I don't know how you could do, like go through what you do. But then I see the sort of things that he does to manage it. Like, what do you see? Because
he loves his cooking. I'll tell him that much.
Oh yeah, apparently you're a top. Apparently you're a undercover chef. Is that African vibe coming through, or have you actually?
It is, man. I don't know. I don't know. I just really enjoy it. Like I
actually, you know what? Maybe it's worth going into some little stories around Isaac. That would tap in, bro. No, but apparently, you're a great cook. Apparently, you're a coffee connoisseur.
Yeah, I love my coffee.
So much so that you've moved away from necessarily going to cafes. Not to say you don't, but you've bought a high-end machine for your home.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I had a bit of a plug at JB Hi-Fi, so he was able to get me a bit of money off. But I got myself apparently
you're real neat as well. You like fold your clothes, clean up.
Yep. I was speaking about last night. The communal area needs to be clean. he can have his room as messy as he wants it. I don't give a shit about his room. But if the main area ain't clean, we have a problem.
Bro, I don't know if that's necessarily an Isaac thing or an African thing. Because my mate, who's Kenyan, the one I was telling you about, his dad. Bro, if one little plate was not clean or done in the dishes, and I'm talking like 30 seconds, it sat there.
Yeah.
All hell would break loose, bro.
I got roasted the other day. I had a nap and then came back home.
Nah, bro.
Oh, yeah.
This guy's stuff was sitting there for 24 hours. He didn't do it. He needs to get roasted. He needs to be kept accountable.
Oh, man. Let's go back into the footy, because when you play, because you play what, mainly halfback now?
Yeah.
You play anywhere else? That's your sort of go-to?
That's it, really.
Is there what's sort of like the clear instructions that you get before you go into games? Because I feel like AFL is very set and play your role. Like in soccer, it's like, bro, it's not so much that. It's like win your battles, but at the same time, you have the freedom to be yourself and be a bit more creative. In football, I feel like it's not stick to your role and you'll help your team win.
Yeah, I feel like, especially like this year, it became a lot more open. Like there's a lot more free reign to kind of play your own game, and like I'm naturally a defender. Like I was a defender playing soccer. I'm a defender playing basketball. So like that's just my natural ability. Whereas like, you got players like, John Noble or Nick who are like unbelievable attackers. So we kind of complement each other quite well because like I mean, I don't get as many touches. I don't get all the goals, but those guys do what they do and they do it unbelievably. Like we've seen what Nick did this year.
Yeah, but your touches stand out to me because you balk about 8 plays, then you kick it. So it's like your one's worth 4.
Well, that's why I'm like, I need to bring that out more this year. That's why I'm like, next year I should say. That's my plan. I need to try and take the game on a little bit more. I've been working on my speed, working on my power. So I feel like, that's the next evolution. But yeah, my role is usually, depending on who we're playing on potentially the number 1 small forward.
Right.
And then trying to like nullify their game and then try and, expose them on the other side.
Because you know what people say about you, and probably not in a detrimental way or anything, but people say you're like really nice. And I think they mean like off the field, like he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Which kind of bothers me a bit because I'm like, bro, yeah, you can be nice, but you can't be a nice guy and play every week for Collingwood. 100%. Do you know what I mean?
Nah.
So do you hear that? Does that shit bother you?
Nah, I get that because I think I'm nice, but I I'm someone that like I almost need someone to like do something to me or say something, and then it's
For the
smoke.
switch
Like
to be
then we're
flicked.
on. Like I remember in the Sydney game, I had like Papley, Mills, and a few of the other boys. Like I love it. Like shit talking's great. It's part of the game. So like they were like talking and bumping, and I was like, oh yeah, you just this is just working towards like this is exactly what I want. And then when I play angry, that's when I play my best football. And I think that Sydney game was one of my best games for the year because I was just like, I just wanted to smoke with everyone. Like everyone was just getting,
dude. Yeah,
yeah.
100%.
And I'm like, as you said, like I'm lucky genetically, like I'm pretty big, so I can take people on. I can try and hurt people. I can, so. Yeah, I think that's the next evolution is being able to like, I need someone to like slap me in the face or something before I will run out, get me angry.
Do you know
get this guy in the rooms. He pisses me off that much. He'll just say something.
Had a nap, didn't clean. Yeah. But because you know what? You're one of my favourite players in the league. You'll hate me saying this. The way you play the game, the darting off the half back because you're black. Shout out. That's minor feature, but major. But also another guy that I love because it's for stuff that like you can control. And I think you'll appreciate this because obviously when you kick the ball, you're sort of the skill sets like handballing, reading the game. Some of that's like sort of gifts and talents and that stuff you've worked on. But like you get some that are like non-negotiables, which is like a choice. And doesn't matter how good you are at footy if you don't select those non-negotiables and like deliver them. And that's why I love Braden Maynard as well because right, he reminds me like Russell Westbrook in the sense of like they play 110% every game. And I feel like one of my greatest moments as an AFL fan was when that Buddy like on the wing because it was like, is Braden going to go to Buddy? Is it going to? And then bang, he's over the thing. And I'm there like, I'm ready to go around. Like, who else is here? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it was that much of a ripple effect. I feel like that would help with you because like Braden's always in like, he's the guy that's trying to sort of play that antagonist and start shit.
Yeah, he's like a freaking security guard out there. Like, I feel like I can conquer the world when Brady's next to me.
Security guard.
I love playing with him. He'd be one of my first pick teammates every week, like no doubt. And I think that'd be echoed by a lot of the other boys. But I just the way that he goes about it is crazy. Like he is that. He's just angry and like he's the nicest guy off the field, like the biggest softy. And then as soon as you get on the field, he's just like
because you wouldn't think that, right? Like his haircut, his physique, and that.
Like, don't get me wrong, he looks pretty scary, but he's a nice the nicest dude ever. So like. Yeah, I've a lot of props for him, and he got exactly what he deserved in regards to the All Australian selection this year. Like I love seeing someone like him get picked because I feel like people like that always like get overlooked because he don't get all the touches and all the speckies and kick outs. Like he's just like raw effort, just dominating his opponent every week.
And it got rewarded, which is sick.
I love that. I love that.
What for you about this group so special? Because we kind of spoke to it with Geordie, but we probably spoke a bit more about like Fly and his sort of connection to the group, but like sort of around the personnel, because you've got such a dynamic group of young to senior players that have like done it all to people that haven't really tasted anything in the AFL yet.
Yeah.
Like, what is it for you when you're between the four walls? You're like, this is why this group's special.
I think one thing that, you know, when I look back on other years is that like this group is really everyone's accepted for exactly who they are. There's like no judgment type.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I literally go into there and I can be 100% Isaac. Like I don't have to like, whereas maybe in other years, and maybe because I was a bit younger, like I'm 22 now, so maybe a little bit older, but I just feel like I can go in there and just like be me. And I think that's what, I feel like when you're in an environment where you can be 100% you get the best out of yourself.
Yeah.
And like it ripples down from Pendle. Like Pendle's is at the top of the top, like obviously.
Yeah.
And I think when you see him like having a joke and you know, being Pendles.
Yeah.
And then, but when we get in the track, it's like, let's go, like let's get the best out of each other, and we're all pushing each other. I think that's what creates that environment where we all just want to win, get better.
Does he always come back with the first to 4 year players, like in that week?
Yeah, I think every year I've been there. He has. Yeah.
Are you out of that bracket now? Or are you on the top end?
Yeah, I'm out of that bracket.
Oh damn!
Yeah.
Is that like you wear that on your chest around the club?
It is a little bit. Well, yeah,
because I would fucking I'd be like, oh, how's those first 2 weeks been?
Yeah,
little
legit.
bitch.
Yeah, this is my first year out of it, and I felt good. I didn't go on Monday.
Yeah.
Me and Pat ended up doing something else. But yeah, it's pretty cool being out of that group, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. Or just having the option to be like, nah, not today. Like, I mean, I still train, so it's like I still
yeah.
But like, it's just you got a bit more freedom to do what you want. Like I've been seeing this strength and conditioning coach flat out, and shout out to him. But and I really wanted to go see him. So that was why I did my own session, or else I wouldn't have been able to do both.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. What for next year, 2023, what would be like a good season for you individually? Because I know collectively that's sort of what you guys are going for, is to win everything and have a good year. But just for you, for what would help that individually?
Yeah.
Do you look at those sort of things like goals and that? Or?
I need to sit down with myself and map out some goals. I'm someone that when I write something and I put my mind to it, I usually can do it. So that's something that each year I've done. And I've not always quite got there, but like I remember last year I put down I wanted to make the 22 under 22 again. And I was lucky enough to make that again. So that was pretty dope. And then I think the next steps are like I want to continue to take the game on, because I know people love watching that. I know that's one of my strengths.
I think that's your X factor to the team as well.
100%. And I think I just need to be in a mindset where I'm just more confident and continue to do it. Like even if I get caught holding the ball, like fuck it, move on to the next one. And the coaching staff are great with that. They want me to take it on.
Yeah,
it's just up here.
Yeah.
So that's probably the next evolution. Is like my defensive stuff is always pretty sound. Yeah. It's more the offensive stuff and like breaking lines, kicking goals. Like I think that's the next evolution for my game, and then we'll see from there.
I reckon you could be all Australian, bro. I think you got it. I think you got it. I think you have everything you can do.
Yeah,
to do it. I'm calling it here. Actually, I'm calling it here.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's huge, bro. But you got to say it for it to happen.
Well.
Yeah, it's just in the same sentence.
Australian.
Let's fucking do it, bro. Because if we don't get there, we're going to be close, and close is better than not there.
Aim higher than lower.
Fuck yeah.
100%. No.
I love that.
Good shout.
I got a few questions here that are going to make you think to round out the podcast. So if you need some thinking time, we'll insert some music probably. But what's the best piece of advice you've got since you've been in the AFL? Like something where you're like, oh fuck, that was a dime. You've got such good people around you, from senior players to now coaching staff. We've spoken about like the heroics of Jackie Lauder under the table, but like just generally, what's sort of been for you a really powerful piece of advice that doesn't have to necessarily be footy related as well?
The Collingwood's always really big on the balance of football. I think that was something that early on I was very like intense. Like I was going to the club 7 days a week, gym every day, like day off. I'm doing recovery at the club, this and that. And I think by the end of it, I didn't think I was like this, but I started to get a little bit burnt out.
Right.
And I think, having the balance, and I know that's something that Geordie does really well, and you'd see that firsthand, is like he gets to work when he's at the club, but like as soon as it's like 3 o'clock, like he's gone and he's chilling out, doing whatever he needs to do, and that's what gets his mind right. And I think if your head's in the right space, then your footy stuff will come along as well. So I think that was something that, I've definitely started to realize, especially over the last, year or so, is that like, getting your mind right outside of football. Like I'm studying Bachelor of Business, and even something like that, like is something that I don't enjoy it at all, but I know it's important, and that's, one day I would love to own my own business. So that's,
I've heard a low key goal. I don't know if it's low key now, but I don't think you know what it is. But you want to make $1 million in business. Like you want to be a millionaire.
I always say I'm going to be a millionaire business.
I love that, bro. Well, you probably want to start one.
I know. I was listening to a podcast. I was listening to a podcast, and he was like, the guy was saying, you're an idiot if you don't have a plan, but you have a goal. And he was literally saying like, to make $1 million as a businessman. I'm like, fuck, like, I probably need to start like making a plan or something. But
I think that's good though, because at 22, when I was playing sport, I never thought, like, I thought fuck anything else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think it's really shifted now, so I think it's really good. Like,
100%. And there's people at the club that do it unreal. Like Darcy Moore, he's always one that I always revert to. Like, he just like he's talk about balance. Like he's a genius off the field, and he speaks so well, but he's a freak on the field. So it's like, having people like that, having conversations with him has even helped me as well.
Definitely. Now, this one for me is going to be, I've been waiting to ask this since we got on the podcast, but who for you in the AFL is your hardest opponent? Like who, not necessarily like, who's just for you is the hardest one to match up with, like with your skill set? Is there anyone that stands out?
Yeah. When I played on Eddie Betts.
Oh, damn.
He just pissed me off. Like because he's so good and he's so smart. He just was very cheeky the way he'd duck out the back, and like, I don't know, like that. I think he had like 3 or 4 shots on goal in a half. So I was like, and like I'm a defender first, and like my pride was, I was hurt. Like I was really hurt. I hate letting my teammates down. So like I think he'd be one for sure. And then, I can't remember. I always speak about it, but Toby Green did kick 5 goals in 3 quarters.
That really burnt him that up. And your boy just like he threw that in as like
I can't stand
but that was that more just like a one-off like versus that he gives you a headache. Like Eddie Betts generally seemed to be like that was like thinking power.
Yeah,
like,
it was thinking
like
power.
You've always got to be. They're the hardest
100%.
opponents, bro. When you're like fuck, it's not about like I have to think every second of the game.
Well, that's like when I play on Guinea at training. Like he's similar. Like
really,
like I'm faster than him. I'm fitter than him. I'm stronger than him. But he's just hell smart and very, very skilled.
Yeah.
And I think playing on people like that is when I like that they're like they challenge me.
I've actually never met Jack like personally, but how like I'd be interested to know because you're pretty close to him. Like, how was last year for him with everything that went on? Like, how did he? Because his performance didn't really drop off, and like,
he had a great
year. For what like from day dot, man, the stuff that was going through, like people were talking about it, and like Kane Corns early, then he wins an Anzac Day medal, and then people like the high tackles, so much pressure on such a young kid, like human being first, then AFL player second. How from you, like, what were you sort of seeing that you're impressed with how he handled it all?
Well, yeah, I think the whole year was a massive learning curve for him. And I think he's still learning. Like, he still does stuff. And I'm like, bruv, what are you doing? But I think he's come a long way. Like, I think he'd even say that as a person. Like, he's grown up a lot. And he's only 19. Like, he's hell young.
That for me, I didn't see him as a 19-year-old.
Yeah, he's grown up a lot in a short period of time. And I think, like, he's been hell vulnerable in the media and come out and said, like, this actually does affect me. Like, I remember having conversations with him and him saying, like, nah, I'm good. But you can kind of tell deep down that, like,
no.
Like, obviously, having, like, thousands of people saying shit about you is going to eventually get to you. So,
correct.
like, I think, the way he was able to be, like, more in tune with, like, what's going on internally and be able to express it. And I think Jackie was huge for him in that regards.
That's
like,
awesome.
And me and him got ourselves into a bit of trouble as well. And, Jackie was an important part of that, just speaking about it and getting it all out and then being able to move on. And, but obviously his football was unbelievable. Kicked 40 goals.
That's crazy for me because that's why I was like, that's a strong kid because like you usually see a dip in stuff, but it like didn't affect him at least on the footy field, which is the hardest thing.
100%. Yeah.
Now the final question, we ask it every week, so some of the listeners will know what's coming, but there's 3 things that I attest to successful athletes and also people in business that I think are, you need all 3, but I want you to pick one of the 3 that you attest your success to and where you've sort of got to today that resonates the most. So we've got resilience, drive, and ambition. Which one sort of hits home? If you didn't have that, there's no way you'd be wearing the number 3 playing every week for Collingwood.
I'm going to say, drive.
Drive.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. All 3 are
which we know,
huge parts of it, and like I think for me, like I've just like it's like the most cliche quote again, but it's like hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard. That's like always been my thing. Like I've never been the most skilled. I've never been the quickest, but I've just always tipped in. Like that's just how I've always been.
Is there anything outside of footy that you've got the same sort of drive for at the moment, or is it really kind of just you just channeling your thoughts into footy and studying and doing some other stuff outside to keep busy?
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean,
it's hard to find. It's hard to find like, something else. That's what
I would say. Like, I have a drive to do my uni, but I don't really. To be honest.
I love it. No cap.
I'm struggling at the moment with the uni. I'm just like as in regards to my motivation, but I've actually found myself a little passion with cooking, to be honest, genuinely.
Dude.
Like I'm starting to like I used to be hell basic and just like, like brown rice, some veggies and like a steak. But I'm now starting to like try and, get some recipes, this and that. And I'm just in my element. Dude. Inviting people over, come over for dinner, I'll cook for you. So
you know what got me into that, because my big thing with cooking now, and I don't cook by any means every night, but when I do, I use it as like, it's like meditation.
Yeah, it's therapeutic.
But the thing that got me into it was TikTok.
Yeah, that's
like,
what I see.
Because I watch cooking shows, but TikTok, bro, just makes you want to cook, and you get insight into like, oh, fuck, that's not that hard.
Exactly, it makes things look easy.
Yeah,
it's like, well, he got his little. I mean, this guy's the worst cook in history, but he got his little chicken recipe from TikTok, and it's actually not bad.
Yeah,
but like, there's some good stuff on TikTok. I agree, but yeah, Yeah, I'm loving. Yeah, no, Petrarca's killing it.
Bro, he's his TikTok. Fuck, man. I sit there watching. I'm like, damn. I almost know what's coming. He loves putting garlic in. Like, yeah, it makes me hungry. Yeah. Shout out.
I'm go for dinner, brother. Where's my invite? Go pro, boy.
Yeah, well, I heard you're the face of GoPro. That's for sure.
I'm under him. Yeah, second tier.
Yeah, second tier. Oh man, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast. We wanted to have you on for a while. I love watching you go about your stuff. We've called it here, no pressure, but we want to see you strive for that All Australian, bro, because you got the ability, man. But yeah, that's right. I'll be there holding it too. But bro, thank you for coming on the podcast, man.
Appreciate you. Appreciate it.
Big love, bro.
Done.